Hello guys, metaloidmonkey here, and we're bringing you another exciting installment of the Unstoppable 2's meta. This is the Andrew's Arbiter guide, and this time we are versing Andrew's Brute on Beasley's Plateau. This is not as much of a leader screw as you'd think it is. But today we're versing Halo 3's Fail and HW Hades. I don't know what his mana count is, either way. The point being is that this is actually not that hard of a matchup when you play it correctly and you know what you're doing. I just feel like I just haven't struggled with it as much as I have on other maps. So basically, the key here is depending on which one of you spawns across from their Brute, you have to play early offense, and the other one has to grab a hook and then go on offense to join you. You're going to be a little bit behind on hooks, but you're going to do extra damage to the Brute's base, and he can't afford to take a hook if he's going to get pushed on this early. So you're going to make him pay for taking a hook, and if he goes straight to your base, which is the only thing he really can do to be effective, is he's just gonna get rolled. Well, no, he's not gonna get rolled. He's gonna be more even than he would have been. Otherwise, he's gonna get rolled. Still gonna be behind. So the main advantage here is that we can force Citadel. They can't. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna have your Arbiter go Temple first, and he's gonna take a hook. Click take it out at least, and you can split it, or you can give your UNSC both the pads right away, depending on if you're going to be building grunts or what their UNSC is doing, basically. The idea is that if their UNSC is clearing a hook first, then let your UNSC just grab all the pads so your Arbiter puts the money into grunts. But if their UNSC is not clearing a hook first, and it's going to go to your Arbiter's base, which is unlikely, then split it. So basically, we know that the Brute went for my hook. So since the Brute went for my hook, my Arbiter's just going to walk with me to the Brute's base. Otherwise, my Arbiter could quickly clear out my hook. We could split that, or I can give him both of those pads, and then he can come to the Brute's base with me. But we're going to let them, because we know that they have that, so we're not going to mess with that. So he thinks he's being so clever because he's got his hogs there to stop me from camping his chieftain's lift. Because, hey, if his chieftain has, they have Brutes and hogs, that's obviously better than hogs, but they should know better. I'm not coming alone. I'm coming with my Arbiter. So now he's in that terrible spot. So let's assume that he knows that my Arbiter is going to be there, and he doesn't even try. So what can he do? He's cleared the hook by the chieftain. He can go and he can try to clear his hook. He can clear his own hook, and then he can try to play offense on my Arbiter's base with his chieftain. That's about as best as it's going to come down for him. Now we should go up and we should buy that turret on the hook that he just cleared out. Now that'll give us a good chance to grab some hooks back. So, and then we can all, as long as my Arbiters chase him off, my Arbiter's free to go grab hooks around the map. But my Arbiter here, he's bringing in some Suicide Grunts, because by bringing in the Suicide Grunts, we can force a Citadel. He actually deleted his temple, and he recalled because he was too concerned that we have too many grunts. They don't know how many grunts we have, whether we built any or if we built 2 or 3. So here I'm just gonna quickly back off a bit. I'm gonna go clear this hook out, and then I'm gonna go and try to put more pressure on the Brute's base. I think we actually went Hall this game, but that's never worth it versus the Brute when you're playing as the Arbiter. I just find you're better off getting turrets into summits, or just getting the summits in general. You should never have trouble with a Hall because you should always be pushing on the chieftain's base. And even if he does Hall, you can just mass up turrets on your bases and go into summits. It'll be much better than the Hall. And as long as your UNSC gets to tanks at a reasonable time, or recognizes that they have to go flamers, then you should be fine. So you just got to keep making hogs the entire time while upgrading your eco and trying to get into Tech 2. Now, I'm only able to do this right here because he lost his hogs in the beginning to my Arbiter. If he didn't lose his hogs to my Arbiter, then he should have already had this hook, and he should have been playing offense, and his chieftain should never have recalled. And sure, he should have gotten Citadel, but his chieftain shouldn't be recalling. But the thing is that we're going to be even on building damage. So all we got to do is just send my Arbiter around to go grab more hooks while they're playing offense, or even my Arbiter can recall. My Arbiter's free to go anywhere he wants, as long as their hogs aren't with at their Brute's base trying to push my hogs off. So basically, my Arbiter can follow the hogs, and if he doesn't want to follow the hogs, he can go grab the hook, as long as their hogs aren't by my hogs. Simple. So it's all about controlling at least 2 of the hooks, and then using the advantage of being able to force Citadel, your early offense on the Brute's base is very key. So by being able to force the Citadel, he's gonna be down on units, and you should be able to control the hooks. And if he deletes his temple, then you're obviously gonna be ahead. So like, you're pretty much just better off just have your Arbiter go Fiendish and then go into Summits and get double Summit Banshees, because you want units with sustain, because Suicide Grunts are much less effective when there's this many pads. So we see, if you notice there, I tried clicking on the Garrison will cover, you cannot click on those to see if they have units in them. So you've always got to check. I mean, obviously I figured he had the Brute in there anyway, so I wasn't even questioning it. So I saw that he had the Hall there, and that's kind of a futile move at this point, because it's late, it's on the hook, you can't really go for the Hall. The Hall is not a good idea. I have 9 hogs on the floor, I think. So yeah, I have 9 hogs out, or 8, and got to get the 9th. Either way, I'm getting my Tech 2 up. A tank will shut it down, or even flamers, or just turrets will shut down the Hall with hogs. And as long as I position myself correctly and don't ignore it, I shouldn't lose my base or anything. My Arbiter's free to go around anywhere he'd like, just to go keep the UNSCs from getting tanks or getting more hooks. But we have quite a few of the hooks right now, so we're not too worried about that. So their Brute can't build any more Brutes, so he's just gonna have Grunts, and Grunts don't beat Hogs. They don't. I don't know why people think they do. They really don't. So all you have to do is just keep massing your hogs up, and it's not an issue. Now, I'm going to go into tanks here because he's trying to go for grunts. I could have built a turret. I don't think I needed it. I didn't think I needed it. I was going to go push on his base, but then I saw that he was building this turret over here. So I decided I'll go back, because I know that right away my Grenadier, once I get Grenadier, will outbuilding damage his grunts anyway, and then I could just give my Covey this massive lead, and my Covey is already putting pressure on their UNSC, so he's going to be way ahead in this 1v1. If it wouldn't even turn into that, because we're going to be so far ahead. I'd be able to kill their base, come back, and then defend mine. So I think I should be able to get that tank out, I'm thinking. So I'm just going to, be over here killing this turret with my Grenadier hogs, because turrets don't do too well versus Grenadier. Well, Grenadier does great versus turrets, actually. Either way around. And he actually vortexed the whole time, so he stopped my tank from coming out. So at this point, I was just like, okay, we're gonna put a vehicle depot, because I just gotta put it on a hook at this point. And I was like, oh, there's one. And I should have deleted the pad that wasn't upgraded, but I just did it quickly, so I wasn't paying attention when I did that. So I actually asked my Arbiter to recall it, because I wasn't exactly sure what the unit composition here was. Like, I know it was a bunch of grunts. I just don't see any brutes in there. So I see one brute now. But yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to deal with it on my own, just because he also had the hogs. But I mean, so I debomb, and I'm just gonna quickly run in there with all my hogs, quickly kill his hogs first, and then get onto those grunts and one brute or so. And all you gotta do is kill the chieftain in this mess, and then it's easy, because he can't. There's no reinforcements. They're not good at all. So my Arbiter was just raging down his squad. So he runs back into the debomb. So that's pretty funny, because he doesn't win in the debomb, I do. And my Arbiter should be free to go wherever the heck he wants at this point. It doesn't even matter, because he's not worried about Arbiter health in this matchup. All he's worried about is getting Banshees, Banshees, Banshees. So since they're not going for any sort of Banshees, we know this already, because he went for that Hall and really tried to stay on that Hall. I'm just gonna go tanks. I mean, that's the way you judge it. If they go for early Banshees and sacrifice their eco for Goss. If they don't, and you can always just go for tanks in this map. Grenadier into tanks is great transition. Sometimes in like maybe Anders Arbiter mirrors, you may end up going Goss into canny tanks, but that's only because you usually will have a bunch of hogs out, because you'll try to avoid engagements. If you're on low numbers, then just stick with your Grenadier and then go into tanks from there. So I know he's got the Brute Squad in the cover still, so I see that when I click up the pads. So I'm just going to kill these pads quickly, send my tank over to tank the damage from the Brute Squad while I get in there with my hogs and then kill it. He's got 3 tanks on the floor, but I'm going to quickly double pump, and I should be able to pass him because I have all these hooks. So I'm going to get Canny, and that should be lovely. I love having Canny, it's nice, it's wonderful. and there's no downside to getting candy right away because he can't push on me because he's on that far spawn. So this is another interesting dynamic, is that the distance between their far bases and the Covenant far bases and the UNSC far bases are actually farther apart because you can't really go through the middle very effectively. You have to kind of go around, which basically means that in some spawn scenarios, that means that one team's UNS in cross spawn, not cross, yes, in close spawns for the coveys, one team's UNSC is going to be able to push on the other team's covey, and the other team's UNSC is not going to be able to push on the other team's covey. So that's a thing to look out for. So that could be an advantage or it could be a disadvantage. It's an advantage. It's totally an advantage. So I'm actually going to go straight into Power Turret because I have nothing to fear from him. He's just getting these hooks back. I'm going to be about the same amount of candy tanks when he rolls up with his candy, but I should be able to get to Power Turret. I'm going to queue up another depot because I did try to steal Power Turret because I can, because we have all these Banshees on the floor. Yeah, so that's always a thing. Like, if you have these Banshees and you can keep them on defense, then feel free to go straight into whatever tech you want. So I'm just going to quickly steal my Power Turret, and in case he's pushing on me, I'm going to get the third depot so that I can build the one extra tank out quickly, just so that I could defend him off if he really is trying to push. But we have complete hook control. Their brute was so slowed down from the beginning that it's just not even a contest at this point. And the thing about Beasley's, I love this map. I don't know why. I just love this map because it can play out in so many different ways. It just plays more like a 1v1 map than a 2v2. You get like double barrack scenarios. That's pretty much the only one. Speaking of which, that's the only one you're really ever going to want to use a hull against. Because if you're going to go summits and then they just build turrets on their base and they get RPG on their Marines. Oh, by the way, he double candied me there. Anyways, so if they just build turrets on their base and then get RPG on the Marines, your Banshees aren't going to beat that. You're not. So you have to go haul, you get some Jackals, and then transition back into Banshees, and then you'll be fine. So he's got to run away with his tanks. I have about the same amount of tanks he does, except I have Power Turret, he only has Canny, and we have all these Banshees, so it's just going to be a matter of pushing and ending the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is nice, fun matchup. I actually enjoy playing versus Brutes on Beasley. I don't know why, it's just fun for me. So if you notice there, I just deleted that depot because obviously I can't afford the triple. It's kind of ridiculous to be able to afford on one base. He's trying to get Vamps, but it's a bit late for that, and we still have all these hogs and tanks to target him down, and he actually has turrets for some reason. I don't understand. I guess he was worried about me going Goss, and then when they saw tanks, they freaked. I don't know. So he misses his canny there, and we're targeting this down. And he's obviously trying to go double summit in this case. We just had such a good hook lead. Always getting hook lead is just so important. So you either have your RB grab both hooks, you grab one hook, you each grab one hook. Usually what's going to happen when you're versing a Brute Chieftain is that either your Arbiter's going to grab a hook or you're going to grab a hook, and the other one's going to go straight to the base, and you're going to start buying turrets on their hooks so that you can steal those from them while you're pushing. You might fall behind a little bit in the hook war, but that's only if they're hooking. And if they decide to go for the hooks instead of going for the base first, you're going to have the outbase damage initially. So that'll put you in a slight lead, and once you have that lead, you can go grab those hooks back. It's no big deal. You just got to make sure you don't let them hold the hooks too long or hold them all game, because obviously that's a recipe for disaster there. So we have all the Banshees, we have all the tanks. There's nothing they can do at this point. And it's just a matter of targeting things down. You can occasionally mix in a gremlin or two if you're doing a down tech to hold everything off. I had a bunch of hooks, so I didn't bother down teching my third reactor. There was a point in there where I was just sitting there doing nothing with my tanks, where I should have killed the base and actually expanded, but I just wasn't thinking at the time. So yeah, you always want to try to take an expansion and get everything going. You can give your covey some hooks if he's getting pushed on. Generally, the person that's getting their base pushed on is the one better off getting the hooks, because then their rush will do less damage. Alright guys, now that you know how to play Beasleys, have a great day.